The ushers will show you where to sit. Before the arrival of the principal officers, I'd like to quickly welcome all our guests who are already seated here, staff and students from the Faculty of Physical Sciences. We are glad to have you all in the auditorium this morning. In a very special way to welcome all of you, I would like you to please put your hands together for yourselves. Please, can you just appreciate yourself for being here this morning? I'd like to first on this list recognize the presence of some deans that are present in this program today. First, I want to recognize the presence of the Dean of the Faculty of Physical Sciences, who is also our host dean. Please, can we put our hands together for Professor Olabisi Adeleye Adekeye. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you so much, sir. We also have the privilege of having in our midst the Dean of Postgraduate School, Professor F.O. Wonsu. Please, can we give him a round of applause? Thank you, sir. Also seated here is the Dean of the Faculty of Law, who is ably represented here today by Dr. Mrs. Barakat Raji. Please, can we give her a warm round of applause to welcome her? Thank you very much, ma'am. You're welcome. We also have the chairman of the University of Ilorin Alumni Association, the University of Ilorin branch. He is also a former dean of this great faculty. Please, can we celebrate Professor B.L. Adeleke? Prof, you're welcome, sir. Thank you, sir. We also have some former deans of the Faculty of Physical Sciences. I'd like us to please put our hands together for Professor U.B. Eke. Please, can we put our hands together for him? Thank you, sir. We also have Professor F.A. Adekola. Please, can we appreciate Prof? Thank you, sir. We also have Professor K.J. Uyewumi. Please, can we appreciate Prof? Thank you so much, sir. We also have in this conference this morning, the pre-conference workshop facilitator is a professor of educational technology and the immediate past dean of the Faculty of Education. Please, can we put our hands together for Professor M.O. Yusuf? Thank you so much, Prof. The keynote speaker for today's event, he joined us all the way from Abuja. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a man that I respect so much, not just because of academics, but because of the kind of grace that he carries. I'd like us to please put our hands together for the Director General of the Nigerian Geological Survey Agency in Abuja, Professor Olusegun Omoniyi Ige. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you very much, sir. You're welcome. And also attending this program today is the keynote speaker for tomorrow's event. He deemed it fit to also be part of what is happening today. She's a former executive director, African Academy of Science. She's a professor at the University of Johannesburg in South Africa. Please, can we appreciate and celebrate a warm round of applause for Professor Jane Catherine Ngila. Please, a round of applause for her. Let's welcome her warmly. Thank you so much. You're welcome, ma'am. We also like to recognize one of the professors I heard of even before gaining admission into the University of Ilorin. From your SS3, you will start hearing about him if you have plans of coming into the University of Ilorin, no matter your course, even if you are coming in to study Yoruba. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the former Dean of the Faculty of Physical Science. Please, can we appreciate Professor Baba Alafara? Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you so much. For the students here, you can testify that if Professor Alafara has 2 hours to teach, he will use the 2 hours and not 1 minute will be left. Do you agree? So please, a round of applause for him one more time. Thank you so much, sir. We want to also welcome all the heads of departments from all departments in the Faculty of Physical Sciences. So I'm just going to mention the departments, so we please just appreciate them with a round of applause. Can we please put our hands together for HOD Geology, HOD Industrial Chemistry, HOD Chemistry, HOD Mathematics, HOD Physical Sciences, HOD Statistics. Please, can we put our hands together for every one of them? Thank you so much for all your efforts in making today's program a very successful one. No, I said physics, man.
Said physical science.
It must have been a slip of his physics. Okay. Thank you very much. I like the fact that when the University of Ilorin anthem is being played, a lot of lips are moving, but very few are singing. But it is acceptable. You're welcome. I want to quickly invite all deans that are present here to please join the Vice Chancellor upstage. All deans that are present here, the Dean Faculty of Law, Dean Physical Sciences, Dean Postgraduate School, Chairman, University of Ilorin Alumni Association, Professor B.L. Adeleke, please join on the high table too. The keynote speaker, Professor Olusegun Ige, please also join on the high table. The keynote speaker for tomorrow, Professor Ngila, please also join us on the high table. Thank you very much. Please permit me to recognize our Vice Chancellor, the #1 citizen of this great citadel of learning. Can we please put our hands together for Professor Wahab Olashupo Eberole, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. He's here ably represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Management Services, Professor Olalere Adeyemi. Please, can we put our hands together for our VC, please? You're welcome, sir. I also have in the company of the Vice Chancellor is the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research, Technology and Innovation, Professor Mukhtar Adeza Etudaye. Can we give him a warm round of applause, sir? You're welcome, sir. The local organizing committee chairman, Professor Olubumi Fadipe Joseph. Please, can we give him a warm round of applause? Thank you so much, sir. Sorry, please, can we give her another warm round of applause? Thank you. Thank you so much. I also want to quickly recognize the head of Department of Geophysics. Can we give the HOD a round of applause? Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Our Vice Chancellor, sir, please permit me this morning to welcome the principal officers of the university and also members of the high table to the second biennial international conference of the Faculty of Physical Sciences, University of Ilorin. I'd like to quickly welcome for the welcome address by the local organizing committee chairman, Professor Olubumi. Can we please put our hands together as he comes to the microphone? Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. The Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellors, the Registrar of the University, Librarian, Deans of Faculties, Dean of the Faculty of Physical Sciences, distinguished members of the University Management, our esteemed faculty lecturer, Professor Olusegun Omoniyi Ige, Director General, Nigerian Geological Survey Agency, Abuja, who is also our home professor in this university, our pre-conference workshop facilitator, Professor M.O. Yusuf, FEMTAN, invited guests, colleagues, students, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the local organizing committee, it gives me a great pleasure to welcome you all to the 4th faculty lecture and pre-conference workshop, one of the major activities leading up to the 2nd biennial conference of the Faculty of Physical Sciences. We are delighted to have gathered today as scholars, researchers, students, and professionals committed to advancing knowledge and fostering innovation in science and technology. This event provides a unique opportunity to engage with contemporary ideas, acquire new skills, and prepare for meaningful participation in the main conference, which is starting tomorrow. Our conference theme, Future Frontiers, Science and Innovation Shaping Tomorrow, reminds us that the future belongs to those who are willing to explore new frontiers, embrace innovation, and apply scientific knowledge to address the challenges facing humanity. Today's faculty lecture and workshop are therefore designed to stimulate intellectual curiosity, encourage interdisciplinary collaboration, and equip participants with valuable insights and practical tools for research and professional development. At this juncture, I wish to especially acknowledge and appreciate our distinguished faculty lecturer for graciously accepting our invitation. We are honored to have a scholar of your standing with us today, and we look forward to benefiting from your wealth of knowledge, experience, and perspectives. I also warmly welcome and appreciate our pre-conference workshop facilitator. We are grateful for your willingness to share your expertise with participants. We are confident that the workshop will be highly engaging, informative, and beneficial to all attendees. I would like to express our sincere appreciation to the Dean of the Faculty of Physical Sciences, members of the organizing committees, collaborators, and everyone who has contributed to making this program a reality. To all participants, I encourage you to make the most of today's events by actively engaging in discussions, asking questions, networking with colleagues, and exploring opportunities for future collaborations. I wish us all a fruitful, enlightening, and rewarding experience. Thank you for your attention, and you are all welcome. God bless you.
Thank you very much. God bless you too, man. And for the opening speech by the Dean of the Faculty, permit me to invite Professor Olabisi Adekeye, Dean, Faculty of Physical Sciences.
Let me stand on the existing protocol. The Vice Chancellor, Professor Wahab Olasupo Egbewole, SAN, ably represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Adeyemi. The Deputy Vice Chancellor, RTI in absentia, and other principal officers that are unavoidably absent. The lecturer of today, Professor Olusegun Omoniyi Ige, Director General, Nigerian Geological Survey Agency, Abuja. Then our pre-conference workshop facilitator, Professor M.O. Yusuf. All invited guests, all students, ladies and gentlemen. It is with a great honor and humility that I, the Dean of Faculty of Physical Sciences, welcome you to this faculty lecture. The topic of the lecture is Science, Energy Transition, and the Future Economy. lesson for developing countries. This year's lecture is the fourth series of the faculty lecture, and the faculty is celebrating this for a great success. Our faculty lecture has over the years built a solid reputation and features prominently in most global scientific calendars. The energy landscape is changing globally, with nations and industries looking for lower carbon options. Oil and gas companies are celebrating their efforts to develop and scale energy solutions that will usher in a greener and cleaner world. To achieve net zero transition businesses are recalibrating their business models by creating the right conditions that will engender innovation, as well as investing in the right resources and talents. Nigeria has launched its National Energy Transition Plan, ETP, few months ago. This plan seeks to get Nigeria to net zero emission by 2060. The energy transition is the global shift in how energy is produced, distributed, and consumed, moving away from carbon-heavy fossil fuel to sustainable, renewable energy source. Driven by the urgent need to mitigate climate change, the ultimate goal is to achieve net zero carbon emission by 2060. The strategy in the transition will be to decarbonize, turn industrial intelligence into action, strengthen trust with better transparency, and build digital foundation. The main benefit is the energy transition will be carbon dioxide emission reduction. So I believe that today's lecture will address some major issues as regards the transition to clean energy and its implication on the future economy. I recognize the presence of our visionary Vice Chancellor, ably represented, members of the university management, scholars, media executives, professionals, staff, and students that are in attendance. I believe you will never regret coming to this lecture today. On behalf of the Faculty of Physical Sciences, I welcome you all to this fourth faculty lecture series. Thank you for always being there for us.
Thank you very much, my dean. I want to seek the Vice Chancellor to invite the former deans of the Faculty of Physical Sciences to please also join the Vice Chancellor on the high table. Professor U.B. Eke, Professor F.A. Adekola, please join us on the high table, sir. Professor K.J. Oyewumi, please also join us, sir. Professor Baba Alafara, please also join us on the high table, sir. Can we give them a warm round of applause? Thank you. I also want to invite to the high table the Director, Center for International Education, to please also join us on the high table. Thank you. The pre-workshop facilitator, Professor M.O. Yusuf, please also join us on the high table. Thank you very much. Director CIE, please. Thank you. Okay. At this point of the program, we want to invite the Vice Chancellor, who is the chief host of this program today, to give an opening and a welcome remark on behalf of the University of Ilorin. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Wahab Olasupo Egbewole, SAN, ably represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Management Services, Professor Olalewe Adeyemi. Can we please put our hands together for the VC?
Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, Deputy Vice Chancellor TI, the Registrar and the Secretary to the Council, the Bursar and the University Librarian. They will not be here because presently we have up to 4 programs at the same time. So we have to hear ourselves. And they are already waiting for me at the council, because there is council going on. So, but we have to be here because the Vice Chancellor honors this faculty and appreciates all what they are doing. On behalf of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Wahab Olasupo Egbewole, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, I want to congratulate the Faculty of Physical Sciences, and I want to appreciate the Dean of the faculty. I want to appreciate all our former deans. They are here, Professor Eke, Professor Adekola, Professor Alafara, Professor Adeleke, Professor Nwosu, and my sister there, and our own brother there, Professor Yusuf. I appreciate you for organizing this program. And I want to thank and appreciate our guest lecturer, our own very own brother, our own, Professor Omoni Yigi. You are welcome, sir. I want to appreciate and welcome our sister from Kenya, from the University of Johannesburg, Professor Ketrin. You are welcome. Thank you, we appreciate you. We want to thank the chairman of the local organizing committee, Professor Fadipe Yusuf, for a very good job. I want to appreciate and welcome all the HODs and our distinguished guests. You're welcome. I can see our guests from the Center for Internationalization and Strategic Partnership. So I thank the director of that center for bringing our guests here. The conference you are doing today is so unique. Everybody is aware that the world is in trouble of climate change, trouble of insecurity, trouble of even food security, challenges of health. Things are changing in the whole world. And the Faculty of Physical Sciences are thought it wise to bring this type of international conference together. At conferences like this, you explore ideas. At conferences like this, you collaborate. At conferences like this, you network. At conferences like this, you expose what you have done in your own area so that it will be known to other intellectuals from other parts of the world. So the Vice Chancellor is so appreciative for what you are doing today and support you. I will continue to support you. I want to wish you well in this conference, and at the end, it will be a success. I plead with our students to listen very carefully, because from conferences, you are developing your intellectual capability. From conferences, you are exposing yourself to ideas you have never known before, because the university is a place of researchers and thinkers. I welcome you, and I wish you joyful success in the conference. Thank you.
I think we can do better than that for the VC. Thank you very much, sir.
Before I go, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Wahab Olasupo Egbewole, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, I declare both the lecture, the public lecture, and the conference open. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. We want to welcome our friends and partners in education from other universities that are here to attend this conference. I have the special honor to introduce to you our guests from one of the largest specialized University of Social Sciences and Humanities in Lithuania. Ladies and gentlemen, can we put our hands together for the head of International Partnership Division, International Office, Mykolas Romeris University, Alina Juskane. Please, can we put our hands together for her? Thank you. And also from the International Head Office, the Head of International Office, Audra Dagit Brokane. Please, can we put our hands together for them? It took me a lot of practice to pronounce your name, and that's very wonderful. Please, a round of applause for her one more time. We are now going to dive into the lecture proper, but I have a special announcement that all final year students, this program is very important to all of you, and an attendance sheet is being passed. So your name must reflect on that attendance list. So if you are here, please find it and make sure you write your name. Having declared this conference open, I'd like to now invite for the fourth faculty lecture to be delivered by Professor Olusegun Omoniyi Ige, and it is on science, energy transition, and the future economy, lessons for developing countries. And to read the citation on our speaker, I'd like to invite Dr. Jiketi Ayila.
Good afternoon, everyone. The Vice Chancellor. Good morning, everyone. The Vice Chancellor and his team, the Dean, faculty lecturer, LOC, and everybody here present. I'm glad and honored to present to you the citation of lecturer, Professor Olusegun Omoniyi Ige. I believe if you are a Yoruba man, you will know the meaning of Ige. I'm not the one to tell you the meaning. However, Omoniyi, I believe you would agree with me, looking at our lecturer, that Oma actually Neyi and Olusegun in his life. But before then, he's someone from geology and mineral sciences. He deals with the soil. I would appreciate if he stands on the soil. Thank you very much. He is someone who has been in the university since 2004 and started his career as an assistant lecturer, meaning that he has grown through the ranks to become a professor. Well done, sir. Professor Ige is one of the two invited Nigerians at the 32-man global delegates on environmental geotechnology at the Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay in 2023. He is also presently, after 20 years of being a professor, is found worthy to be the Director General of the Nigerian Geological Survey Agency in Abuja. He's a rich man, actually. Welcome, sir. Yes, he is someone who has had a very rich research life, whose interest is in solid minerals, research and development, hydrogeology, geophysics, environmental and engineering geology. He has relevant contributions to the body of science through several conference attendance, publications locally, nationally, and internationally. He is someone who has drummed several individuals to be better in their lives, having supervised several undergraduate students to have their projects produced, he had produced 70 postgraduates. And among them is having full PhD students of totaling 8 who has PhD today. Well done, sir. He's an excellent examiner to several national and international universities, and he has rich field experiences. He's not just someone that sits in the class, takes his data from AI. No, he goes to the field, not like you guys. Rich field experiences with established ministries and agencies such as the Federal Ministry of Environment, Federal Ministry of Solid Minerals Development, Nigerian Institute of Hydrological Services Agency, and the agency is currently serving as the DG. He had been with the agency as someone that guides in their researches, and luckily, and today, he is the director of that agency. Is someone who has had a very rich experience in administration, just like he had rich research life. He had been a member of the University Senate, Business Committee of Senate, Secretary to University Waste Management Committee, Head of Department of Geology and Mineral Science, Postgraduate Coordinator, Sports Director, and we had some awards and medals to his credit while he was a Sport Director, Examination Officer. He happens to be the first LOC chairman for our maiden FAFSCON, meaning that the faculty, the conference we held the last time, which was the first time we ever held that, he happened to be the one that led that team to have that very successful conference. Thank you very much, sir. And you see that that success is still with him. Just last time he was the LOC chairman. Today, he's been invited as the guest lecturer. Welcome, sir. And presently, he's the LOC chairman for the forthcoming conference of Nigerian Association of Engineering, Geology, and Environment. Dear fellow members of the audience, he had been the vice chairman of ASU. So he's not a gentleman, he's a comrade. He had been the PRO and social secretary to Ayede Progressive Union, and the chairman of the welfare community of the same association here in Ilorin. He's a man with many medals. He's a fellow of and former National Publicity Secretary of the Nigerian Mining and Geosciences Society, fellow of the Nigerian Association of Hydrogeologists, fellow of the Nigerian Association of Engineering, Geology, and the Environment, fellow of Geoinformation Society of Nigeria, and is an international fellow as well, fellow and board president of the Academy of Innovative Research, Science and Technological Development, and fellow Higher Education, United Kingdom. He's an ambassador of Universal Peace Federation, and is the current chairman, Forum of ECOWAS States Heads of Geological Survey. Oga, I envy you. In summary, who is Professor Ige? He's a veteran lead paper presenter, a panelist at major local and international technical conference / discussions, a member of so many boards, an advisor to the Vodka Group, a South African owned consulting group. And he's now available. He's married and blessed with children. Thank you, sir.
The Vice Chancellor of the University of Ilorin, Professor Wahab Olasupo Egbewole SAN, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor Mrs. Bakari Odunla, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Management Science, Professor Olalere Adeyemi, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, RTI, Professor Etudaye, my own brother, Deans of faculties that are here, registrar and secretary to council of the University of Ilorin, the librarian of the University of Ilorin, other principal officers of the University of Ilorin that probably I may have mentioned or that I've missed, not by intention, the deans of faculties that are present here this morning, the Dean of Faculty of Physical Science, Professor Olabisi Adeleye Adekeye, LOC Chair for FAPSCON 2026, heads of departments of under the Faculty of Physical Sciences, most welcome. Invited guests and the keynote speaker of tomorrow, the Kenyan Nigerian, my own sister, Professor Ngila. Members of the LOC of FAPSCON 2026, former deans, sorry, I think that should have come earlier, of the Faculty of Physical Sciences. I would not want to mention your name, but thank God that you are all arrayed there. Please, you are both recognized and welcome. And every other invited guest that are present here. Then I have my students, my friends and colleagues that are here, great Nigerian students. They just told you that I used to be the VC of ASU, and they said I'm not gentle. So great Nigerian students. Members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, and as one of the immediate past dean of Faculty of Physical Science, we always do. I would also want to do. You know, it's the IPD. I also like to recognize in our midst this morning my very beautiful wife, Mrs. Stella Folashade. Somebody has said that I'm not available. So thank God that she's here herself. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring greetings to us from my agency, the Nigerian Geographical Survey Agency, and of course also from the Ministry of Solid Mineral Development, which the NGSA that I superintend by the grace of God is the technical arm. That means that I'm bringing unto us greetings from the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I want to sincerely say thank you to the University of Ilorin community. Why did I go this lane? Somebody said Nigeria has happened to me. And so I'm bold to say that University of Ilorin has happened to me. Just exactly 2 years ago, I was standing on this podium to deliver the opening speech for the first conference of FAPSCON and as LOC chair, just like Professor Fadigbe just did. And 2 years later, I am here as a speaker at the same conference and the same venue, the same podium. And so I'm not taking it for granted. That's why I said I am grateful to the University of Ilorin and its people. And as a way of interacting since I came, I told my people, where we went to see the Vice Chancellor, I said, I've not come here to give lecture. I said, I've come here to meet my people, to interact, and of course, to, channel forward the way to success. Before I go, please let me recognize someone that is in our midst this morning and is very dear to my heart. It's one of those that reshaped my life and that have made me. Mr. Kunle Arugbe, please, can you stand up for recognition? Thank you, sir. I purposely invited him to come to see what he has done over 30 years ago. So like I said, is a way of interacting together on what the nascent or nagging issue that are of national interest. And so we'll be speaking on science, energy transition, and the future economy, and lessons that the developing world can derive from it. And I'd like to start by saying this: the future powered by low carbon energy sources or protected by a technologically advanced nation is one that will be heavily dependent on the availability and the harnessing of the minerals that is available. Then I said demand for major important critical minerals, that is the lithium, cobalt, nickel, copper. Please, I'm not going to be very too technical. I'll try as much as possible to speak to the audience, but of course, I will need to speak in the direction of science. So copper, neodymium will likely increase, not even likely, it's already on the increase, because as we continue the lecture, you will see that it's already on the increase. So demand for minerals is now the common global currency. About a decade ago now, because in the last 10 years, you will see that demand for different categories of mineral is what comes up at every forum. Even when you have a conference on economics, even when you have a conference on sociology, even when you have a conference on art and culture, you will see at the end of the day what prepared the sustenance of such conferences are the availability of the mineral that can enhance the economic growth of such conferences or such organization. So the availability of mineral is now the anthem, is now the currency. And I said here that mining has become the central anthem, in international conferences, summits, or workshops. And I said, why is this happening? All for the love of sustainable tomorrow through energy transition. And of course, you can see some pictures here. These are just few examples of what I've just mentioned. The cursor to the right, to the top right, okay, the one with the, yeah. So that is a ministerial retreat, This is telling us general outlook of minerals for energy transition, because it's a global thing. And now, like I was trying to say, we started right from local, right from home. So this was a ministerial retreat by the Minister of Solid Minerals in Nigeria, looking at how can Nigeria position itself to meet the demand of the mineral for the future. So, and all other discussions that we see there, I think this one was South Africa, and this one was Saudi Arabia, the one that is in white there at the center. So all these, they call it Future Energy Forum. Okay, so all these discussions are around critical minerals, around transition minerals, around energy change, and all of that. This is just telling us part of the agreement that we have found. We talk about countries coming together to make sure that they solve the future problem. Okay. So this is what has been going on in the world. Now, in this lecture for today, I will be looking at this as a way of highlighting the way we go. Science and its concept, energy transition, and the current energy trend. How ready is the countries, okay, or the world as a whole? Then we need to look at how the materials or the minerals or the entity that will propel this transition, the expected transition, how does it match up with the demand? Then we move down to what Nigeria as a ministry is also doing to foster this energy transition. Then what are the lessons to be learned? So we start with a little definition of what I believe we know, which is the word science. By default, I believe we are all scientists here, and we know that science is just a systematic or a way of, an organized approach to understand the nature, that is the natural entity of the world. That's all about science. Through what? Systemic observation, through characterization, through experimentation, through analysis. So it's a coordinated approach to study the nature. Why is it coordinated? Because the natures are not made by men. So it has to be in a coordinated manner. So what is the concept? The concept involves developing and test theories. Okay? Testing hypotheses about the universe itself, how it works. Criticizing. Trying to provide justification. So that is a concept of science. And I said, in other words, science is the constructive scrutiny of nature or information through observation, experimentation, and analysis that lays the foundation of the advancement of technological innovation, productive growth, and industrialization. What are we talking about? Everything that we have today or that we see today as a way of advancement in technology, they are product of science. Science reason it out, engineers bring it out. So that means there must be this synergy between science and engineering, between science and innovator. Innovators based on the findings, on the hypothesis, on the trying out of the production or the reasoning out of scientists. Okay, so now this picture is giving us information about the world itself. The whole world itself is encapsulated in a system that is called from the atom and of course to the greater universe that you see. But if you look at it critically, you will see that, like I said, from simple atom particles, atoms, cells, but look at where we're coming under the branches of science. So you see that we have the heart and space, the social sciences, the life sciences, the physical sciences, and then the former sciences. Interestingly, all of these are applicable here in the University of Ilorin. But the one of interest that I want us to look at is the heart, science, and space. And we see how it conjoins. Of course, when we look at the other hierarchy of science, you will see that we have sociology, psychology, but I move to the one that concerns us most. The functional biology, cellular biology, the chemistry, the physics, the mathematics, and of course the logic, that is the geostatistics, statistical, and all of those logical aspects of science that we look at. But come up with me here, you see that from the heart and space, we look at astronomy, that is the planetary science, called the cosmology. Then we also look at the geoscience, which I today stand for. Now, just a way to acknowledge the effort of some who started this, who gave birth to us. When I say give birth to us, give birth to our thinking. We are several of them, but this is just to point out as a way of recognizing some who have shaped the world before us and are taking over them to also join to continue to shape the world correctly. So I will not mention all, but I think for interest, I intentionally put some of the ones who are in the field of chemistry because of Professor Adekola, my own big uncle. You see, father of classical, father of chemistry, there. Then Antonia, I will not mention anybody. You see, father of chemistry, father of modern chemistry. The one that is of interest to us is Darwin, Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin, when we were in secondary school, These were the names we were hearing, but we never saw them. But we were told about what they discover and what they propose, and they are now all living. And I mean, because we leverage upon them. So we also have for microbiology and all of the field. Now, they have done so many things. Their proposals, their hypotheses has produced so many things that are listed here, but for time, I may not want to go by line. But just to mention a few is the fact that in the 21st century, the effort of these people became so critical as the world gravitates through a series of intercontinental transition. Okay, intercontinental transition, meaning that you have different energies, different transition, including economy, environmental sustainability, digital revolution. So in the 21st century, you will see that all of these are now coming into play. Everything is now being put in the same pot to make the next food. Okay, so these are some of the things that they have done. Then I said in 2026, the transition is moving, of course, now. It's moving from beyond building more capacity to operating smarter grid. You know, now smart city is coming up, which I'm likely to still talk about. You know, you have smart city, everywhere is connected, the whole world is connected now beyond the issue of grid. That means that you can be anywhere. In fact, I was, my son just showed me something about 4 days ago, where somebody, I think it's on the system, on phone, and then how people now use hand to control not just the knob of starting the engine, but to control every other mechanical and electrical system within the car. So the fellow used his hand to wind down the tinted glass. Look, I don't know how many of us saw it. You know, you young guys, they can easily see things. So it showed me that they can you see where the world is going, and that is what we're talking about. But all of this is encapsulated in the availability of the mineral for this technology. You know? So we cannot talk about our energy transition without talking about industrial evolution. Okay? We cannot talk about energy transition without talking about how it all started. Okay? And I said that when we look at the figure 2 here, it's talking about the sequence of industrial revolution, how it all started from when there was no knowledge, so to say, no institution of what to do, we want to have no way of transforming or, changing, of what we have into what you want. That is the period of wood to the period of coal. Okay, these are common things that we are used to, but this is how it all started. Okay, the wood, fuel was the dominant thing that time, even spiritually. All the all the spiritual books, they mention that how it all started with books, how people were striking rocks, and then they were generating it and all of that. So this is the different levels of industrial evolution for some of our younger ones that are not aware of this. So it didn't just start today. The phone thing did not just come today. It started from one level of nothingness to the next level of something and to a better level of something else. And today, we talk about the third revolution, which is what we are with, and we talk about renewable energy, okay, which is now the dominant energy that we're talking about. And we are still expecting the 4IR, that is the fourth industrial revolution. And quickly, this is what the fourth industrial revolution is going to look like. It's going to have a tripod, we'll call it tripartite, of digitization. If you look at this picture that is here, so we're going to have a tripartite of digitization or integration of value chain, okay, into whatever that you do. Then moving to digital business model and customer access. I may just be saying some of the things that I'll be saying later from here. Because what it's saying is that over time, which is even happening now, most of the businesses are now done online. Okay, most of them are not done online. So sometimes you take your garri to the market and just see that nobody is buying it. because there is a way by which your garri can be brought to you and the money is sent to the person that is buying the garri now. You know. So then it's going to have the third leg, which is the digitization of products and service offering. You know, that is the fourth industrial, the expected fourth industrial revolution. And see the cloud of what is going to be affected as they surround that symbol. Look at it from the mobile device. Okay, you're going to have everything done on your mobile as it now, but I can tell you over time, you may not even need the mobile anymore. Your body is your mobile. I think those in the IT will justify what I'm talking about. Okay, to IoT, that is, Internet of Things, you know, the location detection technology, advanced human match interface, okay, authentication and fraud detection. All of this will be in the advanced 3D, big data analytics, augmented reality, cloud computing. Presently, we know there are cloud computing, but in the fourth generation, it's going to be on the advanced. Now, quickly, I need to let us know that yes, we are expecting the 4IR, that is the fourth industrial revolution. But I'm about to tell us, and I quickly need to let us know that what is going to bring about this transition is the energy, the mineral that I've just displayed here. About 10 to 13 minerals, okay, will be the core of the next future, will be the core of the next transformation. And what are these minerals? Aluminum, chromium, as I've mentioned earlier, up to zinc, vanadium, and all of that. And where will they function? They will function in the production of wind energy. They will function in the production of solar photovoltaic, concentrated power, hydro, geothermal, energy storage, nuclear, and of interest is for us to see on this line the amount of minerals that will be involved. The amount of minerals that will be involved in each of these energy arm. You know, for instance, for wind energy, we're going to have 10 critical minerals that will be involved. And of course, for energy storage, we're going to have 11 critical minerals that will be involved. So for a country, for a community who is lacking in these minerals of future, that means they will continue to be dependent on others. Okay, this is, yes, the first layer here, I've already talked about the transition which I talked about. That is from fire to coal, coal to oil, and all of that. But I just want to bring to us here the different level of definition of what is transition from different bodies. The International Energy Agency defined transition as the fundamental transformation of the energy system into a now configuration of service involving a complex chain of production, storage, and geopolitics. That is those things that revolve around transition. That means transition is a complexity of many things. You know, it's moving from one phase to another, but it's going to come with a lot of complexity because the whole world itself is connected. And when you come to World Energy Forum, what is their the definition of transition? They say it's a triangular type of a thing that has this, that must be secured, that must be inclusive, and of course that must be sustainable. Let's quickly look at the mechanism. The mechanism for the modern transition. What is the ingredients? How does it work out? That is moving into the new, transiting from the old to the new. How does this, what is the modern mechanism? So what it means, what it involves is one, AI-driven smart grid. I think I mentioned it in passing, you know. So part of the mechanism that will be playing the key role is the AI. We are all aware of AI now, whether we like it or not. It is I think it is advisable that we believe that is in existence and is coming on all and on everyone, because we can see it. Our students, I was with my, just this morning, I think yesterday night. Yesterday night, I was with my daughter and he was doing an assignment and she has done it on his paper. I just walked to her and said, but you have plotted it. I said, then what is the essence of, why are you now using the phone? Because she has plotted the graph on the paper. I said, so why are you using the phone? She now said, thank God the mother is here. She now said, I'm using AI to confirm what I have done. This is a secondary school. Are we together? So that's secondary school girl. So I'm using AI and truly she has plotted it. I just wanted to be sure that what I've done is correct. Okay? So that is what I'm saying. So we should, if those that are very young now believe that it is the 18, then we that we are old, we should believe we are take our, most of our challenge is the ability to change. Okay, so we have AI-driven smart grid, then we have, it's kind of a part of the mechanism is decentralizing energy system. Okay, you know, before it used to be just one source, but now you will see that because of the advancement in the technology and all of that, almost everybody now has solar in his houses. I mean, in our different houses. Okay, so unlike before that everybody depends on power, one source, and all of that. But now everybody can provide as long as money is available. Then you also have a drop, okay, in the solar cost. Before, when solar system came, I'm sure, man, just like phone when it came, I remember the first team. I remember that time in the lorry, it was they said the SIM was 35,000 naira. Okay, I don't know how much SIM is sold now. So because of the advancement and this progress in the system, now the price of things are now dropped down. And let's quickly look at our transition readiness. Will be measured by the political stability and political commitment. How ready we are. I will soon show us what I'm trying to talk about. So our transition readiness will be measured in three factors. One, the policy stability and political commitment. Two, investment climate and access to capital. So because of time, I will have broadened what all of this is talking about. When I talk about investment climate, we're talking about the policy, the legal framework, the environment, not whether it is hot or whether it is cold. No, we're talking about the condition, the legal issues, okay, that can make an investor, okay, thank you, that can make an investor to, thank you. Then it will also be based on or measured by technology adoption and consumer engagement. Okay, I'm sorry, please, for distraction. Oh, sorry. Okay, so I was talking about the our success factors for our readiness as continent or as a country or as a world for the expected transition. I said I've mentioned about policy, investment, and technological adoption. How ready are we to adopt or to accept the technology? I recall some times ago, I used to know a professor. I mean, I'm professor, many of us are professors now, but a professor that could not check our email. You know, that time that if you will need to call on someone, you know, she would need to call on someone. And yeah, it's a professor, but not because she does not want. But the fact is that she just does not want to stress herself further. Because the question is, are they going to pay me for knowing how to use mail or something like that? So probably she thought she was just done with the then, but now it's done on, you know. So these are, now let's quickly look at how fair. Now we're talking about readiness. So let's quickly look at how fair are we. I want us to look at this picture, and I'll take maybe 1 or 2, 3 minutes to do a kind of explanation on this picture. I said energy transition readiness, and it depends on stability. I've mentioned that, and so many factors. Now, if you look at, there are 2 or 4 columns here. 4 columns here. The first column is net zero target startups. Are we together? The second one is talking about share percent of global total energy supply. Then the third one is talking about share percent of the global carbon dioxide emission from fuel consumption. Then the last one is talking about global total nominal GDP. Now, let's go. For the first column, you see that achieve, he said achieve. That means for all the countries, you see, look at this one. If you look at this one, at least for net zero target startups, okay? The only, if you look at this one, this is the only where we have it achieved. Okay? Just 1 dot within the world. Now, if you now come to in law, okay, that means how many continents, we are talking about already we have, how many countries or continents have the net to zero intention in their law? Okay, so we have 4% for share of global total energy supply, okay, 4% of the world. Then 2% of the world, carbon dioxide to zero emission. Then 6%, okay, have this global total nominal role. Now, in documentation, in policy document, that means for countries who have put it into document, who have written it down to pass it to law, you know, it's a stage. A stage is that you have it in law. A stage is that you have a documentation to have an intention to do. So you see that from column 2, 3, 4, based on these factors, we have 27, 37% of the country, and you have 16%. So you see, then for proposed legislation, those who are making attempts to make proposal, okay, see how it varies also, 12, 10, 23. Therefore, target discussion, okay, target under discussion, 21%, 19%, 20%. And so if I ask us, where does Africa fall here? Where does Africa fall? I don't want to mention a country. So, but you can see where most of the African countries falls. And for those areas that are not covered, okay, so we have the figure here. This is to tell us that our readiness for net zero by 2030, which is close by to our nose, is still on the run. Now, this picture is giving us information, is from International Energy Agency, and it's giving us information on the current clean energy deployment, okay, to advance, which is in advance in all scenarios for the future, including a strong growth story of solar. So if you look at this one, this is solar power, okay, solar energy. See, for just 2021 to 2023, you will see that it's on the increase. By 2022, it decreased by 35%. For 2023, it increased by 85%. So you can see that's on the rise. And if you go to wind energy, you will see that for 2021, then it has a drop of 20% in 2022, but by 2023, it grows up again by 60%. The same thing goes for electrical vehicles, okay? It's on the increase. And I think that is telling us something, okay? Then for battery storage, you will see that from 2002, you can plot a linear graph, okay, and see that the demand against supply, you know, as it will be. So now this is like a ride. This slide is like a ride on the last one, or a better explanation, because this is about production to demand. Okay, this is production against demand for just 2 or 3 specific mineral commodity. And I take it from here. Let's look at copper. When we look at copper, the blue shows supply. The orange color, I don't know, yes. Okay, showing red more or less, shows demand. And if you look at the charts, the histograms, you will see that there is a rhyme, there is a sister-brother relationship up to 2025. Okay, but what we are projecting about 2030, there's going to be a seniority. Okay, and by 2040, then there's going to be a wide margin in the demand. I mean, in the demand compared to production. The same thing goes for lithium. Lithium is a very, this thing. At the time, 2023, you will see the supply was higher than the demand. Okay, and by 2024, the supply, the demand matching up with supply, but supply was still on the high. Okay, then 2025, you see that the demand was low, and there was a reason for that. Okay, because there were been alternative to lithium, what lithium was doing. Then by 2030, you will see that the margin is going to be very, very high. The same thing goes to cobalt, and then nickel, then graphite, then rare earth metals. Now, why is this happening? I want us to look at this one critically as I'm rounding up. I think I've not spent 5 minutes, sir. Okay, thank you. So let's look at this one critically. Why this challenge? Why the demand? Why the demand is never in line or a consonant? In agreement with the supply. Yes, this is an electric vehicle. For this vehicle alone, look at number one. We have about 9 different minerals that are useful, but it's not about the minerals, but it's about the percentage of the mineral by weight to the total weight of the vehicle. Okay, so if you look at it for copper, for example, you have 13.3 kilogram that will be required. And of course, for lithium, you have the figure there. I think it's clear for us to see. For nickel, for manganese, for graphite, for iron and steel, for rare earth, and for copper. So you will see now the reason for crazy demand for each of these specific minerals of interest. But unfortunately, you will also see that alongside each of these metals or elements or mineral, as the case may be, the producing countries, okay, and then you also see for health, minerals that are useful in health and medicals. Okay, so we have platinum, you have beryllium, you have copper, then you also have for renewable energy. This one is a number. Okay, you also have for digitalization, digital things, IT, and mobile device, and all of that. So you have varieties of this. That means that for whichever country that has this thing, it can never run dry of demand. Now, the picture here, how many of us here have phone? How many people here, you don't have phone? I'm sure there is no one here that is without a phone. Please raise your phone. No matter what type of phone, see how poor my own is. Okay? So now, if you look at the picture that is here, you will see that for every phone that we have with us, I'm using phone and house because it's common to us. Okay? Now, for every phone, you will see that you have every part of the phone is a production, or is a product or byproduct of one mineral or the other. So you can see how much we ourselves, we are draining the mineral. We are demanding for the mineral. So I don't want to mention or go through all of that, but you can see from the body to the screen to the speakers, all of them, just mention them. Silicon cover, they are all products of them. Look at your house, your beautiful house. Okay, see how many of these minerals that are part of what we are living with. Silver, gold, many of us. I went to a particular country and in the toilets, everywhere is gold. Somebody should have understood the type of country I'm talking about. Saudi Arabia, thank you. Everywhere, And I have to check, is this really gold or somehow maybe fool's gold, as we call it in geology? But it is really gold. Everywhere, toilet handle, everywhere. Is well. Okay, so now this is just looking at the role of mineral development attaining future. I think I've said some of this in passing, so I'll quickly jump this one. Don't bother, but it can be scary that the increase in mineral demand will be by about 500%. Okay, in mineral demand, in less than 10 years. See, this is not me. This is the world. This is World Economic Forum. Okay, that will be by 500%. That's by 2035. Okay, and the investment into it will be over 3 trillion. So one, there is big business for anybody who wants to go into mining. But let us now look at how Africa now plays justifiably in meeting this need or this demand, or in coming up, or in advertising or announcing itself as a continent. Now, if we look at this, the second lower, the world reserve giant, I call it the world reserve giant. Africa owes 30% of the gold of the global mineral reserve. Totally. Mention any type of mineral. Africa as a country, and we know different countries that we have. Okay, but essentially, Africa owes 70% of the cobalt, which is in DRC Congo, which is the largest world production of Congo in the world. Okay, but if you come lower, you will now see that for platinum group, that is PGM, okay, we have about 90% of reserve, which is essentially within South Africa and then Zimbabwe. And for cobalt, we have about 70% production only within the Congo. Then magnesium, manganese, which is straddled within South Africa, Gabon, and then the Ghana. Okay. Now, there is something that somebody may want to ask. Okay, as a way of question that Prof has been talking about all other countries before. Before now, Ghana, Congo, and all that, he has not mentioned Nigeria. Yes, he has not mentioned Nigeria. But I want to quickly remind us that Nigeria was a giant in the production of solid minerals during and just around the colonial period. Okay, that time, tantalite, columbite, and tin in Jos, that was actually what made Jos prominent. And when the colonial people were coming, they were coming to Jos that time. That was what made Jos or Nigeria to be the giant of the world. That it was actually number 2 in the whole world, solid mineral. Okay, but because of the discovery of oil and gas in 1956, in the process of still looking for and documenting the solid mineral, we got a run on the oil and gas, and then because at that time too, the whole world was interested in oil and gas. So the attention was focused on Nigeria, and then Nigeria also focused attention on oil and gas, and it left there, the solid mineral. But the good thing is this, the solid minerals are not liquid, so they are not flowing. So that means it is still there. It is still there. But until the recent time, which I am about to say, the present government, and of course the drive, the need for renewable energy, the need for sustainability, the need for green tomorrow globally, the mindset to reduce gas emission, okay, to zero, okay, to leave fossil and come to renewable energy, the whole world interest now came. Then the present government, in their own wisdom too, now made a solid mineral, that is the Ministry of Solid Mineral, as one of the icons. If you look at the agenda of the President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, if you look at the 8-point agenda, the number 4 on the agenda is to make sure that the reserve, the solid mineral is used as a turnaround for economic development, economic diversification. Okay, and this was just about 3 years ago. Okay, but you will also realize or believe with me, if you are in the field, that between that 3 years and now, we've had several investors, several foreigners coming into the country for the purpose of investing in the solid mineral. However, we do know that exploration is not going to the market and buy tomato and come and cook. So it's a systematic thing that takes time, that takes period, and that takes events. Okay, so Nigeria, I can tell you, rank higher and conformably than many of these countries that I've mentioned in production of some of this thing. But because our exploration as at that time were on the surface of occurrence, that is before colonial and after, a little after colonial, post-colonial. We were doing occurrence, we are doing identification, we are doing mineral deposit. You understand now? But now we are, thankfully, the federal government of Nigeria is looking into the ministry, and part of looking into the ministry is investing some finance into the ministry, such that as a country we go into detail of also resource and reserve estimation. I think we can appreciate the federal government for this. Okay, so I have just painted to us the last stage that what is Nigeria doing? Okay, you look at it, I said the Nigerian strategic roadmap. Of course, closing up on value chain, value addition, or data sovereignty, which I will talk about, sovereignty, and of course, the discovery of over 40 minerals. These are some of the contributions from the agencies and of course from the Ministry of Solid Minerals to the future economy that we're looking at. But on a specific country by country, so to say, I just want to take us through this slide, through this page. You will see that for mineral, which is useful for clean energy technology such as green hydrogen, then our share of global reserve in Africa is 92. I want us to look at this one. Okay, please, are we together? Sorry, please. Okay, so you will see that the share of global reserve in Africa for platinum group metal is 92%. So somebody will say, when somebody came up and say Nigeria needs not to be poor. Is that not correct? Now, for EV, it's 56. And we have those countries that are, have been part of it. Then for geothermal, 36%. Wind, 24%. Okay, I've mentioned EV, Madagascar. Then, for other ones, so as they are, stated down there, steel, battery, and all of that. Okay, so now, as a country, as an agency, which I've mentioned before, okay, like I said, that we are the technical, the Nigerian Survey Agency is the technical arm of the ministry. So we have also, like I showed us, where we have identified over 44 minerals. Okay, and in particular, especially when criticality has to be the song of the singer, then we have to be focused on the minerals of interest, which is which I've just, some of which are listed here: lithium, nickel, copper, rare. And if by chance, okay, your state is mentioned, because we have also put the state that enrich in some of these minerals. Okay, for instance, you have for lithium, Kogi State, Nasarawa State, Kwara State, Ekiti, and all of that. So if you fall into this, you can now proceed to licensing. Then we have nickel in those states. We have copper, Zamfara, Bauchi, rare earth, Ebonyi State, Plateau, and all of that. There are minerals in almost every kilometer in Nigeria. For everywhere that I've spoken, I've always said it. It now depends on mineral that is of your interest. But for every kilometer in Nigeria that you move, you must see a mineral. Okay? So that's to tell us how enriched the country is. So as I round up, what lesson can the developing countries take from here? I'll start from this thing is angry. I'll start from this picture here. It's representing data. It's representing data, geoscientific data or data of any kind. Now, for any country, developing country, to aggregate or harness its resources and make it tenable and buyable by the competing world, then such continent, such country must go after orphanage data. I call them orphanage data. There are so many data that are orphans. And what do I mean? Data that are not staying, anyone that is not staying or having a house to sleep, we call such person an orphan, meaning that nobody can lay claim on him. So we have so many data that many people cannot lay claim on. We call them orphanage data. And that is the first place we need to start. People who are doing mining illegally, they are having data with them that are orphan. Any child that cannot display that this is my child, that child is a bastard. Or you have adopted or kidnapped that child. So by law, every geoscientific data must be hosted at the Nigerian Geological Survey Agency. That is when your data become a child of a father. So anyone that is practicing mining, anyone that is doing exploration anywhere, bring your data to the Nigerian Geological Survey Agency, not for the purpose of the agency alone, but for the purpose of the country. Because when they come, when any investors come, the first place they go is the agency to know what data that is available. And that is when we have a peer with you to also advertise you. And part of the rule is that even when you submit your data to the agency will not at any time use your data until after some years, after you have made the money that you have made from gathering that data. So the first place for a developing country to pair well with the competition and the competing country is to make sure that they get a home for the orphan data that are with them. That's number one. Number two is to dip into thorough exploration. Recently, by the grace of God, I was in Sierra Leone, and after everybody has spoken, the Minister of Energy and Solid and Petroleum, the Minister of Energy and Petroleum came up and he said, everything that you have been talking about, please quote me. Said everything, I have the video, so if you quote me and say, like, don't send the video to you. He said everything that we have been, and that was a guardian of the whole world, so to say, especially in African countries. And everything we have been talking about, leverage on the availability of data, which is exploration. And was asking question, you don't have data, you want to go and do mining. What are you mining? Okay, so the first thing we do, and he said something, and I will say the way he said it. He said when you are selling something, and it's really worth the market, you don't need to advertise yourself. People come and look for you. So he said, Africa, why do we make noise that we have? So why don't you go and produce and bring it up onto the surface and people will know? So the first thing that we need to do, and the next thing that we need to do, is to deepen our exploration in all aspects of geoscience, in all aspects of whatsoever, geophysics, geochemistry, whatsoever. So we have to deepen our exploration. And that is why I need to say it again. Thankfully, to the current government, who also has understanding of this thing that I'm talking about, and again has supported or has committed to the Ministry of Solid Minerals to do a thorough base-to-base exploration to be able to gather data that anywhere in the world we can stand. So that is one. And of course, we know what that means. That reduces our error or losses by 20 to 30%. Because when we have data and the data is confirmed that this data is real, especially when it's coming from the mandated agency, then you have confidence in your investment. Okay, then the next thing is friendly mining climate. I think I mentioned it in passing. That is the legal and the policy. We must, the developed country must learn, because from those countries who have gone ahead of us, you will notice that the condition for them to go into mining, for their locals to go into mining, they are friendly. There are know some countries whereby they have banks, okay, banks that are dedicated to borrowing miners money, especially China. And they don't take return until maybe after 5 or 10 years. So they will expect them to have gone. That's why you see most foreigners here. Because they have money that they have borrowed, and there is a gestation time for them to return the money. And even the percentage on it is also very meager. It's to give them encouragement, to give them rest of mind, because when the interest is high, and in 5 years you have not even invested the money, and the interest is already going, so you are dying already as a miner. So for developing countries, so you have to create a very conducive and friendly mining exploration system. Then the next thing is collaboration. Developing countries will need to join their hands together to help themselves. Collaboration in the aspect of exploration, collaboration in the aspect of infrastructure, collaboration in the aspect of finance, collaboration in the aspect of policy, collaboration in so many aspects. Okay, processing. Somebody may have the facility to process, but does not have the mineral resources itself. So when someone in the country has mineral resources, he cannot collaborate with the one that has the finance to process, and the president they share the profit. Okay, then the next one is value added. This is the noise everywhere in the world now. Value addition. This is what brought us to this place. If when colonial people came, we had been talking about value addition. When they started away with all our minerals that time, we have invested, we have mandated that they should do value addition. By today, Africa will not be crying. Nigeria will not be crying. Because they will have invested back what they got or taken from us. Okay, so today, every developing country must ensure that there is value addition. And what do you mean by value addition? If you take away, if you mine a mineral here in Nigeria or anywhere in Africa, you must make sure that there is a proceed, whether processing, whether plants or processing plants and all of that, it must be added. Something must be done. In the process, you are transferring knowledge, you are transferring skill, you are transferring energy, you are also creating employment, and you are also developing the environment. So there must be value addition. And that was why in 2024, the current Minister of Solid Minerals, Dr. Dele Alake, when he came up, he made up a policy that for any investor that is coming to Nigeria, that is in the heart already, there must be a value addition content. And that is why today we have more than 5 lithium processing companies in Nigeria. We have 1 or 2 rare earth processing companies in Nigeria. So also along, because that has been put as a mandate. Okay, so another thing is security, which must be ensured, because everybody, though we know there are levels of insecurity almost everywhere, but we are fighting it. Okay, there is nowhere, even as I was talking, somebody called me. He wanted to call me, said, but he was told that there is something, and he could not come again. So everywhere, when you go to Kenya, my
my sister's country. You have insecurity there when it comes to mining. Go to South Africa, go to anywhere. But we are managing it. But most, as a way of responding to this is also the establishment of what we call mining marshal in Nigeria. This is the first time. This is the first time that we have a mining marshal in Nigeria, whereby as a miner, you have the confidence of going to your site and mine once you have your evidence that it is your site. Okay, so that has been provided. Then, of course, the last one, but not on the list, is the logistics. That is traceability of content, traceability of our material. If you look at those, the oil and gas, when a truck take a commodity, maybe gas or maybe PMS, and it's going from the beginning, when it's loading, they know the weight. As it's moving, it gets to a place, they confirm whether the thing has been reduced or not. So they are tracing it on to the last point where it's going to deliver the content that it took from the beginning. So we have to also, every developed country must also imbibe in logistics, in traceability of the element. We have not been tracing it. Sometimes some people will say they will come and say it's pegmatite that they are mining. But before you know it, inside that pegmatite, you know what I'm talking about. You see many other useful elements that are even better, more than lithium, more than titanium, more than all of that. So how do we trace it? So we have to, encourage our traceability. Now, this table is just talking about, is enhancing what I've said earlier, the previous slide. The countries, how the countries, African countries, developing countries are now responding to those things that I've just mentioned. For instance, DRC Congo, which is the father of cobalt in Africa or the world, you see what they have, the rule that they have put in place, okay? That new rule to increase transparency, that is the last thing I said, and ensure revenue benefit, okay? Benefit the country's economy and people. That was what they did. In 2021, the government announced plans to invest, can you see the bill, okay, in the development of battery manufacturing industry, okay? So this is, I'm rounding up already. So you see South Africa, look at what a partnership with private sector to foster, I talk about collaboration, okay? So South Africa, as big as the country is, they still partner with other sectors, private sectors. Most of the things in South Africa, they are controlled or ruled by the private entity. Morocco, phosphate. Okay, they are phosphate and they have a legal, rule against it. For instance, phosphate are essential for production of phosphoric acid, which used in battery and solar panel. A national strategy aimed to develop the country's phosphate resource while pairing the endowment with existing EV manufacturing. So you can see what we're talking about. Then let's come to Nigeria. Nigeria has a roadmap for development of country's mining sector. Yes, we have the roadmap that is set, that is going on currently, done in conjunction with the World Bank, okay? Then, so the roadmap includes plans to increase the extraction of green metals, green energy. The roadmap also includes so many conditions that will attract investors, so many conditions that will de-risk, the sector and all of that. So we have all of these. Then lithium, that is for Namibia. You see the condition there. The export ban on lithium concentrate to promote local what? Processing. I talk about value addition. Now, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow is only guaranteed by enhancing and harnessing the potential of today's mineral resources. I submit. Thank you very much.
I think for someone who has been speaking for almost an hour plus deserves a better round of applause, please. That's the DG, Nigerian Geological Survey Agency, Abuja. Thank you so much for that well-delivered lecture and also very, very thought-provoking. I want to believe that after a lecture like this, some of us would have questions, some of us will have a little contribution or the other to make, and he's right here to answer those questions. So we're going to take only 4 people. Only 4 people. We're trying our best so that we can leave here before 1 p.m. Only 4 people. So if you're interested in asking questions, please just raise up your hand. We'll call you. I want to ask that those the registered participants, if you registered and the items that you're supposed to collect are not complete, you can get them at the registration desk outside. So all the bags and every other item that is necessary is already available outside. And if you have not completed your registration process, the registration desk is open for you to complete the registration process. The pre-conference lecture and workshop will start at exactly 2:30 at the Science Lecture Theatre. The pre-conference lecture starts at exactly 2:30 at the Science Lecture Theatre. Please come with your laptops and writing materials. Then item 7 is sure for only registered participants. Item 7 is sure for only registered participants. Let's take the questions now. That was the first person to raise a hand. Please stand up. Number 2. I have to take one person from here, sir. I have 3. We have 3. I have to take one. That is number 3. One person from here. 4. Let's take 4, sir. Thank you. Can you please come close? I don't think we can remove the mic, so. Okay, there's another mic. The lady on the black top. Yes, that's her.
Okay, good day everyone, and I want to appreciate all dignitaries. Thank you, sir, for this wonderful enlightenment. I want to ask this question. I want to believe that one of the reasons why this conference was held is to help our country and the world move from dangers of substances from crude oil and all of that, to make our climate better. So I want to ask that, are there any emerging technologies that can reduce our dependency on mining? Because we have histories of countries in Nigeria that our government had to put a stop because mining and all of that causes dangerous things to our environment. And countries like Congo have also suffered from excessive mining and insecurity issue. So I want to add that now that we are trying to remove our focus from crude oil to solid minerals, are there other things? Because I don't believe, and I stand to be corrected, that mining can supply us, like the whole world. If we should depend on mining, there won't be any dangers to us again. So that's the question I want to ask, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Can we put it to, do we take all the questions together? Number 2, sir.
Yeah, I want to congratulate my brother and the DG for this wonderful presentation. It's wonderful and it's great. I really enjoyed it, and I want to congratulate the organizer, first of all, the faculty, the dean, for this conference, this workshop. Now, the question I want to ask, as you are presenting, my heart was jumping, actually. The reason is this: we all know the situation we are in the country. And it's as if you are bringing out the secret of the whole nation. That's the way it is to me. Now, because we know that solid minerals, I'm a material scientist. So when you're talking of lithium, when you're talking of cobalt, when you're talking of manganese, and application in some of these devices, I know that is it. They are important. So in fact, you have established again the connection between material science and and geology, and physics. So the thing that making my heart to jump is when you have something, the number one thing is you are not the only one that saw it. Everybody is interested. The kidnappers are interested. The Boko Haram are interested. All other people are interested. So when something is, you're talking about exploration, when you discover it, I think the first thing is for the government to provide security. Security is number one thing. Because look at Congo. As much as they are so rich, but they are poor. Why? Because people are interested in what they have. You said in every kilometer in Nigeria, there's mineral. My heart jumped again. Because that means people will be interested in Nigeria. So that's the number one question. What is the security? What is government doing? When you discover something, the first thing is security. So what is government doing? Number two, you mentioned value addition. Value addition. Now, the value addition, the Chinese, they will come. And you mentioned collaboration. Now, when somebody wants to collaborate with you, he's not doing it to help you add value and give it to you. They are taking it away. They will add value to it. They will enrich themselves and sell it back to us. So what are we doing concerning local, indigenous value addition? I think the government, we should take note of that. The indigenous value addition. So those are my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. The third person is at the other side. Thank you. What is the government doing about security and local indigenous value addition?
Thank you very much, the DG, sir. My name is Jamal Shehusani from Bayero University, Kano. I'm from the Department of Physics. I'm an associate professor. In the department, I major in geophysics. So during your presentation, I am particularly happy to meet you here because I've always used the data of which they are in your custody. I use a lot of data from NGSA. So today I feel very, very elated. I've received your name, and to see you physically, it's something that I am really happy about. But during your presentation, you mentioned about data, that we have a lot of orphan data in the country. And I agree with you. But you emphasize the fact that for every data everybody has, you should make sure you deposit it with the agency. And that is where my question lies. Besides the data that you have custody of, we in the university, we also have our own data too. Because most of the data which we use, they are airborne data, satellite data, and what have you. We have our own ground-based data too. Like in my department, we have our ground-based magnetometer, we have our thermometer, and we have some seismic machines too, the seismometer and what have you. And we send students out, we go for data collection, we analyze this data, we process them, and we come up with results. And there has never been a time that we deposit this data with the agency. And we all know the painstaking efforts it takes to acquire data and to process them and to bring the result out. And here you are telling us we have to deposit this data to you. Everybody that has data is powerful. He knows the value of what he has and he doesn't want to release it. except perhaps if it's going to be monetized or some other value addition and what have you. So my question to you now, sir, is what do you really mean by depositing this data? I have a lot of them, which I'm proud of, and now you are telling me to deposit this data, which I have, expended a lot of resources and energy and what have you. So please, I want you to share more light on that. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, so let me help you add to your question. Is there going to be any monetization for your data and all of that? So Digital, I'm sure you have a response to that. Just one more question.
My name is Professor Jima Ajadi, a professor of mineral exploration, geochemistry, and geochronology. I want to, first of all, congratulate this university for producing a personality that has been found employable and appointable as the Director General of Nigerian Geological Survey Agency. And I want to also congratulate Professor Ige for representing this university creditably well, because as a colleague, we have been monitoring your traveling and movement about. We have also been watching the revolutions you have been trying to bring to that very important and very crucial agency of the federal government. Part of the 2 points I wanted to raise has been raised by somebody. I just want to touch it briefly, touch one of them. The issue of value addition. You try to use the petroleum industry as an example. But the problem we have about value addition also affects the petroleum industry. Otherwise, Nigeria is the only petroleum producing country that is not refining its own petroleum and importing refined products. That is what we are calling value addition. We mine this crude. Initially, most of the people who are drilling our crude oil are foreigners. They declare whatever they want to declare to us. Even after drilling this oil are shipped away and are bought at a price determined by them. And if you look at all the industries connected with petroleum industry, you have those that when you refine a crude, you have wax that you can use to produce candle wax. You have some other petrochemicals. You have those components of it that you can use for fertilizer. And so many other byproducts that are connected with crude. Yet up to today, our crude are still being refined abroad. Even Dangote that just started is being teleguided and told what to do. So value addition is a very serious problem. And most of our gemstones, most of our minerals are mined, but are taken abroad for processing. So if you look at the legal framework, Digital, I need your attention. You will see the deal later. If you look at the framework that you gave, you will see some other one of our students who asked that she's afraid if Nigeria is not having anything to do with crude, she's wondering whether the minerals we have can survive this country You see, if you look at most of those other countries that you cited, South Africa, platinum, Morocco, cobalt, you will surprise that Nigeria has some of these minerals more than those countries. But because they don't have crude, they have to focus on what they have. Because we have crude, we tend to neglect so many other things. I want to tell this gathering, sir, that someone once told me that Nigeria is so rich in iron that if everybody decides to build house with iron, it is very possible. I was wondering, but not too long ago, somebody approached me as a mineral explorationist that he has been engaged in iron rolling mill, but he concentrates the source of his raw material on scraps. That is it not possible to get local sources of iron and now swung into action. And I discovered that most of what we call Yangi, Okuta Yangi, that is, some of them are very rich in iron, and we analyze, some of them are having as much as 38% iron. And Ajaokuta is working and operating on 38% iron. Most of the Yankees that we have around, but we neglect them because we are not ready to process them. So what is the government doing about value addition? We have been talking about it. And if you look at the legal framework, the only thing you show us on Nigeria is that we have a mineral exploration roadmap. What is the meaning of that? We have a roadmap leading to where? We have to make specific law. Like one of the countries, I've forgotten the country, they ban exportation of lithium so that whatever they got from their country can be processed there so that we can have value addition. What is Nigeria doing? We have road map, yet Chinese, like somebody said, come into Nigeria. Most of our miners who are even indigenous company, if you go to them, most of the workers are these Chinese. And they are mining raw and taking it to their own country. What is Nigeria doing? Finally, Mr. DG, I pity you. And I don't envy your position because I know what is happening there. I was a deputy director in that agency before I come into academics, and I know what is happening there. But no matter what happens, this university is privileged to have you there. I know there is no funding. What are you doing as a person to make sure you bring something back home to your institution, even if it's an equipment that will make other universities to be running and coming to University of Ilorin for analysis? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Please, can we pass the microphone to the DG? Thank you. You can sit down and answer their question. Let's make you very comfortable, sir. Please sit down.
Okay, thank you very much. The moderator and then the people that ask questions. Well, I'll try to answer them in a way that I believe it will be so understanding and convincing. One, the young lady that talked about the technology, the emerging technology for exploration. And of course, asking another question at the same time, if the solid minerals in Nigeria is sufficient for us alone so that we can do away with oil and gas. Yes, for the technology, there are emerging technologies. Those technologies have been there, but they are in advance, so they are advancing. And of course, the peak of it right now as we talk is the AI that we're talking about. So, by the vantage of the office that I hold by the grace of God, I've been exposed to so many technologies that everything still runs down to remotely sensed data. You were asking that question in direction of the adverse effect of mining on the people. So as I've just answered you, there are so many emerging technologies, which I don't want to give, I may not give all the names, but most of these technologies are patented after the, so there are so many of them. Again, there is no activities that, there's no activity that does not have a risk on its own, and as it may be. What everyone will want to do is to try as much as possible to bring the risks to the minimum. When you do mining in itself is risky. We've heard of so many mine collapse, all of that, poisonous mining and all of that. So those ones are there. But as much as they are there, it will still be expected that when someone that has a project to go into do the necessary and adequate environmental impact assessment, okay, a kind of risk assessment of the project that is going for. Again, I said that will reduce to barest minimum the risk that the fellow will take. It is not every mine that should be mined. Okay? It's not every mine that should be mined, depending on the level of the risk. But if you are able to get a way around it by reducing the risk, coming against the risk, since it's natural, then you can go ahead for mining. Now, with respect to your last question, I'm still answering question number one now. That should we leave petroleum and go all after solid mineral? That may not be correct. Okay? Even though I can tell you that Nigeria has in abundant resources what can feed Nigeria and feed the neighboring countries in terms of solid minerals or whatever they want to produce. But you see, you cannot say because you have two children, one is fair and one is dark, or one is a man, one is a boy. But because the one that is a boy knows how to play football, you now make instead the one that is a lady. It's still your child. Someday, somehow, it's useful for the purpose. Okay? So we are not recommending that. We are only enhancing our economic potential by recognizing and harnessing the solid mineral, which were long forgotten. So let's understand it. Okay? So that I think that answered that. Then the second question is about, I think security. Somebody talk about security of title. Yeah, well, let's put something down about security. But, what's government doing about security? Well, I think I said it while I was speaking. This question, 100 people can ask it. And I believe that same 100 people will answer it. Insecurity is everywhere, like I said. And for something that I've started over time, it does not take a day to stop. What is important is to look at the KPI. What is the government doing? One, I said it. Except for mining, I know you're not asking about security or other aspects because I'm not talking about that. I said for mining, there is now what we call mining marshal, which is the security arm of the government. Remember, people will still want to restrict it because some people are living big with the insecurity in mining. So that means the government is not alone confronting individual. Are you getting me now? Or the people that owns the mine, but people who are also living big in it. And so what I'm trying to say is this: precept upon precept. Let us look at it. The government has made a condition. There was nothing like mining marshal before. But now there is mining marshal in the last 2 years or so. So the question is, let's begin to measure how functional they are or they have been. How productive they have been. Are they making progress? If they are making progress, then we now know, okay, this we need to improve in their progress. If they are not making progress, then we may look at it, oh, maybe we need to fathom another style. So, but I want us to take it from this table that government is actually doing a lot, not just something, from the aspect of security. Because now, I can tell you that so many illegal miners are in the custody of the law. So many. Now, even in Kwara State alone, if you are in the news, you will see so many that have been apprehended by this same security arm. My staff always come to Ilorin here. There is this EFCC something here to defend and to identify minerals that are illegally carted away. Okay, so these are moves. The only thing is that from the side that you are seeing it, but I can tell you, government is doing seriously a lot, at least with my experience since I joined the system. Okay, so now the next one is value addition. I want us to understand the context of value addition because it came from two people that spoke. It's just a way of making, it's a way of making value locally from the proceeds or from the actions or activities that is taking place at that same spot. Let me break it down. I have a mining company and I mine gold here. And instead of me to carry the gold, to take the gold raw and take it to Sokoto or to China, as we say, I decide to say, okay, I am now planting a gold processing plant in Igomino, because that is where I am mining the gold. So I have a structure so that when that gold is coming from the pit, it's not going to the port. Okay, so it's going to an infrastructure, which is a building that I've put down with all the machinery and the stages of production, so that at the end of the day, I have a raw gold produced from Nigerian, I have a refined gold produced from Nigerian raw gold. And I'm selling it to Nigerians. Now, at this point, I can now export it to Ghana. I can now export it to anywhere because I have already made value. So because in the processing plant, I have Nigerians that are working there. I am putting back skills so that even when I leave after 25 years of mining or 30 years, I have Nigerians that are trained that they cannot continue with the machine operation. That is value addition that we're talking about. It's a little different from giving back. I built hospital. I built road. I built those are CDS. That's community development service. But what we are saying is this: from the processing of what you have mined, even if you cannot finish it, but that's what we are even telling them, cannot finish it by our infrastructure, maybe power that we don't have. You cannot finish the final product in Nigeria, but at least take it to a level, even if it's just to make it make pellet out of the iron ore or something. So let us see what we have done, so that people will learn and people can gain. So that's what we're talking about under value addition. My brother, I don't know why. Okay, data repository. Yeah, thank you very much. Number one, for acknowledging publicly that you use my data, NGSA data. I am glad. And I think I have had that several times and I'm happy. That's to tell people that our data are available. But let me quickly ask you, quickly tell you. It is in the law, it's our Act. Act 8F. Act section 8F, right? 8A, B, C, D, F. That's where it says that all geoscience and related data in Nigeria should be reposited in the Geological Survey Agency. The reason is very simple, and that is the way it is everywhere in the world. It's a law everywhere in the world. Because the mineral itself belongs to the government. Are we getting it? So the mineral itself belongs to, is on the exclusive list of the government. So when you take something from me, but the government is not saying that you are not entitled to use it. But what you have, the information that you have been able to generate, you have been able to generate, okay, from that action, give it to the agency who is the custodian. The reason is this: there is apparently no government that can fund all the exploration in all the countries. I mean, all over his country. She can bear me witness. There is apparently no government, because especially maybe only country with small land mass. But a country like Nigeria, the federal government cannot produce such money, even when they borrow it. Because like I have told you, if you want to do detailed exploration over the land of Nigeria, we are still there till eternity. But that is why government in its wisdom is cooperating with the private. It gives private licenses to go and mine. But when you have done your mining, give us the data. The data will be used, we will put in our own archive. So that when we go outside, all we use to tell people that, look, truly we have this and this is what it is. The rule, like I said when I was talking, is that it's so as if we will now use your data that have given to us and now go and go to your site or go, no. There are laws on that. Once you have license over your land, nobody can come there. Even if people are aware of your data, you have license over it. So nobody, even if people are aware that this is what you have here, there are so many information that is outside there. Even the one that we have, we put it in the public domain. Okay? But what we will do is that NGSA, that will not display that information that you give to us until when you are successful with exploration. And for, like you said, that your data orphans, yes, this is why there is an MOU, there is an angle of collaboration between NGSA and all related institutions, universities. We have MOU, NGSA have MOU with almost about 6 different institutions now. Such that when you want to do that kind of work that you want to do as a university, you can let us know. We can support you with equipment. We can support you with human resources. We support you with our knowledge. We support you with so many things. So that at the end of the day, in fact, your data will be more enriched than what you think. We have value to your data, so we share the data with you. We also have a component of the data. And we can even help you to advertise that thing for you, because people believe us more than you. Is that okay? So that is that. Professor Ajadi, sorry, I think I will just answer one of the questions, the last one. That he said that you are pulling, like my friend said, that you have pulled my leg. That what are we bringing to NGI, to the University of Ilorin? We will bring things by the grace of God to the University of Ilorin. I love the way you spoke, because you know what I'm feeling and what I'm passing through, which is good. So, but we will bring definitely something to the University of Ilorin, and I think that is how I think it's better for me to present it. We are working on it. Thank you very much.
Please, can we appreciate the speaker one more time for taking its time to actually respond to all 4 questions. Thank you very much, sir. Please, before we leave, I want to announce again that the pre-conference lecture will start at 2:30. Science Lecture Theatre. Please come with your laptops and other writing materials. Item 7 is guaranteed for only registered participants. I'd like to invite the faculty officer, Faculty of Physical Sciences, to please come for the vote of thanks. Faculty officer, please. Then if you have not collected your items, bags, jotter, pen, meal tickets, please, you can get all that at the registration desk. They are available now. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed speakers and honored guests, as we come to the close of opening ceremony, I take this moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to every one of you. On this event of Faculty of Physical Sciences, second the annual International Conference Hybrid FASTCON 2026, themed Future Frontiers, Science and Innovation Shaping Tomorrow, and 4th Faculty Lecture Series 2026. It has been an honor to be part of this innovative event, and on behalf of the Faculty of Physical Sciences, I appreciate your presence, participation, and contributions that have made this event a memorable one. So the erudite speakers,
Please appreciate the work of our faculty lecturer.
So the erudite speakers, your insight, brilliant thoughts, process, expertise will inspire and educate us tremendously. And we are grateful for the time and effort you dedicated to creating and sharing your knowledge with us. We also appreciate the work of our guest speaker. God bless you, ma'am. To all organizers from the committees of and subcommittees, the local organizing committee, and all volunteers, your all-relating efforts will ensure a fruitful experience for all attendees. Your hard work and dedication have not gone unnoticed. To all attendees, your engagement in form of questions, remarks, and interaction have undoubtedly made this faculty FASTCON 2026 a dynamic and enriching experience for everyone involved. It will indeed be an in-depth learning experience as we are poised to serve you as the best we can. Thank you all for being part of FASTCON 2026 and lecture and faculty lecture. It is favorable anticipated that we create memories, network effectively, and apply innovative scientific knowledge gained here positively as we continue to inspire and motivate one another in our future endeavors. Please join me in a round of applause to express appreciation to the Vice Chancellor. Please, let's put our hands together, please. Professor Wahab Olashipegbe-Wole, SAN, for his visionary leadership, prompt response to requests, and sound guidance regarding actualizing FASTCON 2026 and second biannual international conference and faculty lecture, 4th faculty lecture. Another round of applause, please, to appreciate the Dean, Faculty of Physical Sciences, Professor O.A. Adekeye, for tirelessly interacting with all facets of the organizing committees to ensure prompt progress. In the same vein, I salute all past deans of this great faculty, all our erudite professors, the head of departments, present and past HODs, and all other non-teaching staff of these great faculties. You are wonderful. Please, a round of applause to the chairperson, LOC. Please, let's put our hands together for the chairperson, LOC, Professor Olubunmi A. Fadipe Joseph, for our progressive leadership and ingenuity in making this conference a reality. Last and of utmost importance, a resounding round of applause. Please let's put our hands together to all participants. Without you, there will not be events to grace or remember. Thank you for your presence and support. On behalf of the Faculty of Physical Sciences, I also welcome you to University of Ilorin as you enjoy FASCON 2026 events. I wish you all happy deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please let us meet at the Science Lecture Theatre at exactly 2:30, where the pre-conference workshop would kick off. Thank you.